I want to show, summarize here are the four types of lipids that you should know. Sorry about the color. So so I think the first one, of course, we talked about were the fatty acids. Now remember, fatty acids are basically, they are long chain aliphatic carboxylic acid. So you can have, for example, 14 here, and then you have COOH, right? So this is an example of C16 fatty acid, right? 14, 15, 16. This has a name, and the name is, oops, sorry, what happened to it? Okay, and the name is 0. Okay, and the name is laureate, or lauric acid. Okay, so this could be saturated. This is saturated. They have no double bond, or they could be unsaturated. And the unsaturated example would be, for example, CH3, and you have CH2. Let's do it nicely. So if we have unsaturated, an example would be CH3, CH2. I'll do 7 times CH, a double bond, CH, should be CH, not CH2, CH2, 7, and COOH. This is C. If you look at this, this is 7 plus 8, 9, and then 9 on this end, so you have C18 colon 0. And where is the double bond? Now again, please remember, the double bond is always coming from this carbon number 1. You have 7, that's 8. This is number 9. So double bond is at position number 9. Right? And the name for this is oleic. O-L-E-I-C, oleic acid, or oleate. Okay, so please make sure you guys know the first one, which is fatty acids. The second one we talked about was this category called triacylglycerol, and triacylglycerols are basically formed when you have a glycerol molecule. So you have CH2OH, CHOH, and CH2OH. This glycerol, right? This is glycerol guy here. It reacts with 3 different fatty acids. So I'm going to draw, this is SCH3, so I'm going to draw C14. So this is a C16 fatty acid. I can have another one. This is, I'll draw a unsaturated fatty acid. And I can draw a saturated, another one. And I'll draw C18 fatty acid, saturated fatty acid. Okay, in all of them, the acyl group is this. Water is gonna come out, and this is a condensation reaction, right? And we talked about this last time. And 3 waters are removed for each of these reactions, and that would lead to a triacylglycerol, so CH2O, CHO, and CH2O, and then you have the acyl group, R1, R2, R3, right? So this is triacylglycerol, acyl glycerol, or TAG. Right? Now this triacylglycerol that I've drawn here has both an unsaturated fatty acid shown here and this highlighted here, as well as two saturated fatty acids. Right? So can I change the color? Yeah. And this is two saturated fatty acids. So if I were to ask you to draw something that has all saturated, you could draw all saturated. If I say draw something which is all unsaturated, you can draw all unsaturated. If I say draw a triacylglycerol that has two saturated and or two unsaturated and one saturated, you can do all of those things. Please make sure, as I told you, you should memorize one of each. So laurate is a saturated, oleic acid is unsaturated, and you can use any one of those that you want to memorize, but you should be able to memorize one of them. Okay, so that was so that's these are the two classes of fatty acids, right? Or lipids, sorry. The third one that we'll talk about are, open that. Okay, so the third one I'll call phospholipids, the third class, or they're also called glycerophospholipid. Okay, now these again they look very similar to triacylglycerol. So they look like a triacylglycerol, but they're based on diacylglycerol. So here's an example. I'm going to draw 14CH3. So this is C16 fatty acid. Oops, sorry. Okay. All right. So let's draw. I'm going to draw again one unsaturated one here as well. And then for the last one, so again so you have diacyl, they have two acyl, so this is mono and di. And this is a tri, you have a phosphate group on it, right? And then you can have nothing here, or you can have basically a hydrogen. So if you were to draw a hydrogen here, dash H, right? Or you can show without the hydrogen, it'll be negative sign here. So this is, so if you just have that part here, right? If we just have that part here, this is an example of phospholipid, and this is the simplest one, as called phosphatidate. If it is protonated, if you have lost the hydrogen, or it's also called phosphatidic acid, like acetic acid, right? And then this is acetate. Okay. Now this is in. I told you you should memorize two examples. So you should memorize phosphatidate, which is what I'm shown here, right? And you should also memorize a more complex phospholipid. Phospholipid. Okay. A more complex phospholipid would be what I'll draw right now. So make it small, make it smaller. Strange, I can't make it smaller. Okay, I'll go to next page. So let's do a more complex. So again, a phosphatidate is this guy here. So phosphatidate is this guy here, I've shown here, right? This is phosphatidate. It has just a hydrogen here, right? A more complex one, which is more complex phospholipid, will be shown now. So this is again 3B. This is a more complex phospholipid. Okay. Now again, it starts off with glycerol backbone, right? And then we're going to draw a fatty acid, right? It could be saturated or unsaturated. This is a single bond. Sorry, it's not right. It's not right. Extra O. So acetyl on O, the acyl group. Okay. Now again, I'm showing R, but these can be, you know, uh, CH2, say 14, CO, CH3. The COH on this side. Yeah. Okay. Same thing here as well. Okay. Now if I had a phosphate, so I have to draw a phosphate. So I draw a phosphate. Right. So this is phosphatidate. Right. So a complex fatty acid is derived from phosphatidate. So I draw phosphatidate, and then here instead of a hydrogen, I'm going to actually write. I'm going to draw. So again, let me just draw hydrogen here. This is phosphatidate, and I'm going to write right next to it. I'm going to show you the amino acid that we all know from before. This is C alpha. So you have NH3 plus, and then you have hydrogen, and you have COO minus. This amino acid, of course, if you remember, is called serine. Oops. Is serine. Okay. What will happen is these guys will react together, and again, water will be produced, eliminated, right? And so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to show you that how it's done, right? And what happens, what you get a strong equivalent bond between them, right? So this guy is added instead of a hydrogen, and now it's a more complex phospholipid. Um, so see if I can move this. I can do it a little bit better. So if I just remove this part. You can just move that. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to paste it. Oops. Yep, perfect. I'm going to move it here. I can make it small. Okay. Let's try moving it a little bit more again. Sorry about that. Okay. And I'm going to now draw a phospholipid. Okay. So this is a phospholipid. Now it's more complex. It has a serine attached to this thing, and the name becomes phosphatidyl, and then you add the word serine. Phosphatidyl serine, right? And it's a very important phospholipid. Short form is PS. Right? Okay. So again, you should know two examples of phospholipids. A simpler one, which is phosphatidate, and then a more complex one. I like phosphatidyl serine, but you can have other ones. So other examples as we saw in our notes, the examples are phosphatidylethanol amine. Sorry about that. Ethanol. I can't write. Okay, ethanol amine. Okay, or phosphatidylcholine. All or other ones and so on and so forth, right? So just know one of them. This is good enough because you know serine and you can just draw serine, but please make sure this is a phosphoester linkage here. Okay. Now the last one that I want you guys to know is, let's do that here, was the fourth class of phospholipids or fatty acid, sorry, fourth class of lipids that I want you guys to know is an example of a steroids, and there are many in steroids, and that you can draw. The one that I told you, all steroids are composed of 5 rings that are fused together. So 2 of them are like this. The third one goes up here, and the fourth one is a 5-membered ring like this. So you can draw many of them. The one I think the easiest one to draw is estradiol. This is the female sex hormone. You can draw. It has benzene ring, and then you have OH. I think all of them, most of them have OH here. And then for estradiol, the one that really is easiest to draw, in my opinion, you have an OH here as well. And you know it has OH because of this diol. It has 2 ols. Okay, and then it has a CH3 group here. This is a CH3 group here. So this is the simplest one to memorize. This is estradiol, but there are other examples, of course. Other examples there's, and we saw this in our notes. You can have testosterone. Testosterone is there. You have cholesterol as well, and progesterone, and so on and so forth. But this is good enough for me. It's easy to memorize. So this is what I want you guys to know, please. These 4 classes um, of lipids: fatty acids, triglycerol, phospholipids, and steroids. So hope this helps. Okay, goodbye. Let's stop that.